Title: I Caught My Girlfriend Cheating. Here's what happened. I'll never forget that Tuesday afternoon. You know, the kind of day where everything seems normal, even boring, until something happens that flips your entire world upside down. That was the day I caught my girlfriend Claire cheating on me, and what followed was a complete unraveling of our relationship, 3 years gone in the blink of an eye. Things started going sideways a couple of months ago. At first, it was nothing obvious, just little things that began to stack up. Claire had always been independent, and I loved that about her. She'd spend late nights at the office, pushing hard to move up in her career, and I was always proud of her for that. But lately, those late nights had started happening more often than usual, and she seemed different when she was home. Distant, distracted. She wasn't the same Claire I fell in love with. The first real red flag was her phone. We'd never been the kind of couple to hide things from each other. We trusted each other. Or at least, I thought we did. She'd leave her phone out in the open. No passwords, no secrecy. But suddenly, she started taking it with her everywhere. Into the bathroom, hiding it under pillows when we were on the couch, keeping it face down during dinner. I'm not a jealous guy, but I noticed, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. One night, we were lying on the couch watching a movie. She was scrolling through her phone like she always did, and I casually reached for it to change the music playing in the background. I didn't even think twice about it. But the way she snatched it back, it was fast, almost too fast. "What are you doing?" she snapped, her eyes wide. "Relax, I was just going to change the music," I said, trying to laugh it off. "I'm waiting for an important message from work," she mumbled, but I saw the look in her eyes. She was lying. I knew it, but I let it go. I didn't want to be that paranoid guy, digging into his girlfriend's phone and acting like a jealous idiot. I wanted to trust her. I really did. Fast forward a couple of weeks, and the feeling in my gut only got worse. Claire's work meetings were more frequent, her excuses more rehearsed. It was a Friday night when she said she had to stay late again, some important client dinner, but I wasn't buying it this time. She dressed up more than usual, more makeup, a tight dress I'd never seen her wear to work before. Something wasn't adding up. That night, after she left, I paced around our apartment, restless. I couldn't shake the feeling that she was lying to me. Finally, after what felt like hours of fighting with myself, I made a decision. I sat down at her laptop, knowing she always synced her phone to it. My hands shook as I opened her messages, praying that I was wrong, that this was just some misunderstanding. There it was, in black and white. Messages between her and some guy named Jake. Flirty, casual, like they'd been seeing each other for months. My heart raced as I scrolled through their texts, each one cutting deeper than the last. "Last night was amazing," one read. "Can't wait to see you again," said another. I felt sick. I felt stupid. I had been blind this whole time. The woman I loved, the person I thought I'd spend the rest of my life with, had been cheating on me behind my back, and I had been too naive to see it. When Claire got home later that night, I was sitting on the couch, waiting for her. She walked in with a smile on her face, like nothing had happened, like she hadn't just spent the night with another man. It made my skin crawl. I couldn't wait another second. "Who the hell is Jake?" I asked, my voice shaking with anger. Claire froze. She knew instantly. Her face went pale, her smile vanished. "What are you talking about?" she said, playing dumb. But her voice cracked. She couldn't hide it. "I'm talking about the guy you've been screwing behind my back," I said, standing up, my fists clenched at my sides. "I saw the texts, Claire. I know." Her eyes widened in panic, and for a moment she looked like she might deny it, but she knew there was no point. She let out a shaky breath and dropped her purse on the floor. "Ryan, I'm so sorry," she whispered, tears welling up in her eyes. "It was a mistake, okay? It didn't mean anything. Please, just let me explain." I stared at her, barely able to comprehend what I was hearing. "A mistake?" "This wasn't a mistake, Claire. This was a choice. You didn't just trip and fall into bed with him. You lied to me for months. Do you even care?" Her tears came fast, but I wasn't having it. I could see through her act now, see how manipulative she was being. "Of course I care," she cried, stepping toward me. "I love you, Ryan. I don't know. I was feeling lost. You've been so busy with your own stuff, and I felt like we weren't connecting. I didn't mean for this to happen. Her voice was desperate, like she was trying to convince herself as much as she was trying to convince me. But I wasn't buying it. What followed was the most infuriating conversation of my life. Claire wasn't just apologizing, she was trying to twist the entire situation. She started making excuses, playing the victim, and shifting the blame onto me. "You've been so distant lately," she said, her voice trembling. "You've been spending more time with your friends, with your work. I felt neglected. I felt like you didn't even care about me anymore." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Are you seriously blaming me for this?" I shouted, my anger boiling over. "I've been here for you every step of the way. I've supported you, listened to you, been there when you needed me, and this is how you repay me? By cheating on me?" Her face twisted in frustration. "I'm not saying it's your fault, okay? I'm just trying to explain why it happened. We've been together for 3 years, Ryan. I messed up, but that doesn't mean you should throw everything away over one mistake." The entitlement in her voice was infuriating. She expected me to forgive her just because of the time we'd spent together, as if that somehow made her betrayal less serious. Like the years we had were a free pass for her to cheat and expect things to go back to normal. "I'm not throwing anything away," I said through clenched teeth. "You did that the moment you decided to sleep with someone else. This isn't just a mistake, Claire. This is who you are, and I'm done." That's when Claire really showed her true colors. Realizing I wasn't going to cave, she shifted tactics again. Her face hardened, and she crossed her arms, her tone turning cold. "If you leave, I'll make sure everyone knows it was your fault," she said, her voice dripping with venom. "Our friends, your family, they'll believe me when I tell them you've been distant, that you pushed me into this." I was stunned. The woman who had just begged for forgiveness was now threatening me, trying to blackmail me into staying with her. It was like I was seeing a completely different person. "You seriously think that's going to work?" I said, my voice shaking with disbelief. "You think you can manipulate me into staying with you by threatening to ruin my reputation?" She shrugged, her expression cold. "You know how people are. They'll take my side. I'll make sure they do. You'll lose everything." It was the lowest she had ever gone, and it only made my resolve stronger. There was no way I was going to let her manipulate me or control the narrative. I wasn't going to be her victim. "You can tell them whatever you want, Claire," I said, grabbing my jacket from the chair. "But the truth will come out eventually. I'm done playing your games." I packed my things that night. I didn't care what she said or how she tried to spin the situation. There was no going back. I could feel her eyes on me as I stuffed clothes into a bag, but I didn't stop. I wasn't going to let her guilt trip or intimidate me into staying. "You're really going to leave me over this?" she asked, her voice shaky. "After everything we've been through?" I zipped my bag and turned to face her. "You left me the moment you decided to cheat, Claire. You can't just expect me to forget that." For a moment, she looked like she was going to start crying again. But I didn't care. I was too angry, too hurt. The woman I had once loved had turned into someone I didn't even recognize, and there was no fixing what she had done. As I walked toward the door, she made one last attempt. "Ryan, please," she whispered, her voice breaking. "I love you. Don't leave."